He looked at the grease stain on her apron and saw a woman he could manipulate. She looked at the scuff on his boot and saw a lie worth billions. Phineas Vane, New York's most elusive bachelor, thought he was playing the ultimate game, dressing as a pauper to find a woman who loved him, not his wallet. He found Tessa a struggling waitress at a roadside diner who shared her tips and listened to his sob stories. He thought he was the predator testing the prey. He was wrong. Tessa wasn't just serving coffee. She was serving justice. And by the time he realized who she really was, it was already too late to sign the prenup. The rain in Manhattan didn't wash the grime away. It just made it slicker. Inside the Rusty Spoon, a diner wedged between a failing laundromat and a boarded-up electronics store on 10th Avenue. The air smelled of stale grease and burnt coffee. Tessa Calloway wiped down the counter, her movements mechanical. She was 26 with dark hair, pulled back in a fraying scrunchie, and eyes that seemed too sharp for a woman working double shifts for minimum wage. The bell above the door jingled. He walked in, shaking off a wet, oversized army jacket that looked like it had been pulled from a donation bin. He was handsome in a rough, unkempt way. A few days of stubble hair, matted by the rain, and distinctively slumped shoulders. "Just coffee," he muttered, sliding onto a stool. "Black. And, actually, do you have any day-old donuts, the cheap ones?" Tessa paused, the rag still in her hand. She looked him over. Most people would see a man down on his luck, a guy laid off from the docks or a construction site counting his pennies. But Tessa didn't look at the jacket. She looked at his hands, manicured, no calluses. The cuticles were pushed back with a precision that cost $50 at a salon not chewed off in anxiety. Then her eyes dropped to his shoes. They were scuffed work boots covered in mud. But the mud was fresh topsoil, not the grey sludge of the city streets. And the laces. They were tied in a complex, sturdy knot, a Berluti knot. "Fresh pot is brewing," Tessa said, her voice raspy. "I'll give you a fresh donut. On the house. You look like you need it." The man looked up, feigning surprise. This was Phineas Vane. At 32, he was the CEO of Vane Capital, a private equity firm that had just acquired the wildly successful tech startup Lumina. Phineas was worth roughly $4 billion. He was also paranoid. After a disastrous engagement to a runway model who had essentially tried to invoice him for her time, Phineas had decided on a new strategy. He called it the poverty audit. He would date women while posing as a struggling freelancer named Paul. If they stuck around when he couldn't pay for dinner, they were keepers. "You don't have to do that," Phineas said, playing the role of Paul with practiced humility. "I can pay. I think I have $2 in quarters." "Keep your quarters, honey," Tessa said, sliding a glazed donut onto a chipped plate. "It's late. Owner's not looking. Eat." Phineas watched her. This was the third time he'd come in this week. She was consistent. She didn't flirt. She didn't look at him with pity, just a sort of weary solidarity. She was perfect. "You're too kind for this city," Phineas said, taking a bite. "I'm Paul, by the way." "Tessa," she replied. She poured the coffee. "So, Paul, still looking for work?" "Yeah, it's tough out there. I had an interview at a warehouse in Queens, but my car broke down." He sighed, a theatrical exhale he had practiced in front of a mirror in his penthouse at 432 Park Avenue. "That's rough," Tessa said. She leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. "Cars are money pits. What do you drive?" "Oh, just an old Honda, 2005. Phineas lied smoothly. Tessa's eyes flickered for a fraction of a second. She had seen him park 3 blocks away 2 nights ago. It wasn't a Honda. It was a matte black Audi RS7, parked discreetly in an alleyway, guarded by a man who looked like he ate bricks for breakfast. "Well," Tessa said, picking up the coffee pot. "Hopefully your luck turns around, Paul." Phineas smiled, a genuine warmth creeping into his deception. He was falling for the act. He was falling for the simplicity of it. He thought he was observing her, dissecting her character. He didn't notice that while she wiped the counter, she had angled the stainless steel napkin dispenser so she could see the reflection of his phone screen as he checked a text message. The message read, "The merger with Montclair is at risk. Board meeting at 8 a.m. Arthur." Tessa saw the reflection. She didn't react. She just scrubbed a coffee stain harder. "I get off in 10 minutes, Tessa said suddenly. "If you're hungry, there's a taco truck down the street. $2 a taco. My treat. You celebrate the interview, even if you didn't get the job." Phineas's heart skipped a beat. This was the moment. The generosity test. "I couldn't ask you to do that," he said. "You didn't ask," Tessa replied, untying her apron. "I offered." The rain had stopped, leaving the New York streets glistening under the neon lights. They sat on a damp bench near a construction site, eating tacos wrapped in foil. Phineas felt a rush of adrenaline. He had dined with duchesses in Monaco and actresses in Los Angeles, but this felt more real. He watched Tessa eat. She ate with an appetite, not picking at her food like the socialites he was used to. "So Tessa," Phineas asked, wiping salsa from his chin with a rough napkin, "what's your story? You surely don't want to serve coffee forever." Tessa looked out at the skyline. The Empire State Building was a distant needle of light. "I'm just saving up," she said. "I have debts. Family stuff." "Family?" Phineas pressed. "Parents. My father passed away a few years ago," Tessa said. Her voice went cold, devoid of the warmth she showed in the diner. "He was a businessman. A bad one, apparently. Left a mess. I'm just the janitor cleaning it up." Phineas nodded sympathetically. "Money ruins families," he said, the irony tasting bitter on his tongue. "That's why I don't care about it. I mean, look at me. I have nothing, but I'm free." Tessa turned to him. The street lamp cast a shadow over her eyes. "Are you free, Paul, or are you just hiding?" Phineas froze. "What do you mean?" "I mean..." She laughed lightly, diffusing the tension. "We're all hiding from something. Creditors, exes, landlords." Phineas relaxed. "Yeah. Landlords. Exactly." He decided it was time for the escalation. Phase 2 of the poverty audit. "Oh no." Phineas patted his pockets frantically. He stood up, checking the oversized jacket. "My wallet, I think I dropped it at the truck." He began to pace, acting out panic. "My ID. My last $20. It's gone." He watched her reaction closely. This was where the gold diggers usually checked out. They would offer a token that sucks and leave. Tessa stood up immediately. "We'll find it. Retrace your steps." "It's gone, Tessa. Someone probably swiped it. God, I'm so stupid." He kicked a trash can lightly. "I don't even have subway fare to get back to my cousin's place in the Bronx." Tessa didn't hesitate. She reached into her jeans pocket and pulled out a crumpled wad of bills. It was her tips from the night, maybe $40. "Here," she said, shoving the money into his hand. "Tessa, no. I can't. Take it, Paul. It gets you home. It gets you breakfast tomorrow. This is everything you made tonight. Phineas said, his voice actually trembling. He felt a pang of guilt, deep and sharp. She was passing the test with flying colors. She was a saint. "Money comes and goes," Tessa said, staring right into his eyes. "Character stays. Take the money." Phineas took the cash. He felt like a criminal. "I'm going to pay you back," he promised. "One day, I'm going to pay you back 1,000 times over." "I know you will," Tessa said. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Go home, Paul." Phineas turned and walked toward the subway station. He waited until he was out of sight, then ducked into the alley, where his driver, a burly man named Cole, was waiting with the Audi. "Home, sir?" Cole asked, as Phineas slid into the leather back seat, discarding the wet army jacket. "Yes, and Cole. Get me a background check on a Tessa Calloway. She works at the Rusty Spoon." "Suspicions, sir?" "No," Phineas said, looking at the crumpled $1 bills in his hand. "I think I'm going to marry her." Back at the bench, Tessa hadn't moved. She watched the black Audi pull out of the alley 3 blocks away. She pulled out a sleek burner smartphone from her boot. She dialed a number. "He took the bait," Tessa said. Her accent shifted. The rasp was gone, replaced by the crisp, polished enunciation of a boarding school education. "He thinks I'm a charity case. He's going to vet me. Make sure the Calloway identity holds up. Seed the records. Make sure the debts look real." "Understood, Ms. Montclair," a voice on the other end replied. "The board vote is in 2 weeks. If Vane Capital absorbs us, your father's legacy is gone. Phineas Vane will strip the company for parts." "He won't," Tessa said, walking toward the subway herself. "Because he's not going to be thinking about the merger. He's going to be too busy trying to save me." 3 weeks passed. The charade deepened. Phineas, still Paul, had started dating Tessa. They went on walks in Central Park. They ate pizza by the slice. He even staged a fake job interview where he got hired as a janitor just so he could take her out to a slightly nicer dinner at a chain restaurant. He was infatuated. Tessa was everything his world wasn't grounded, honest, and unconcerned with status. He found himself rushing through billion-dollar negotiations just to make it to the diner by 6:00 p.m. to walk her home. But back at Vane Capital, things were getting bloody. The boardroom was a glass box overlooking the Hudson River. Phineas sat at the head of the table wearing a $5,000 Tom Ford suit, a stark contrast to his diner attire. "Montclair Industries is stonewalling us." Arthur Penn. His chief legal counsel threw a file onto the table. Arthur was 60 sharp as a tack and had the moral compass of a shark. "They know we're leveraging a hostile takeover. They have a silent shareholder blocking the vote." "Who is it?" Phineas asked, rubbing his temples. He was exhausted from leading a double life. "We don't know. The daughter, Teresa Montclair. She vanished 5 years ago after Old Man Montclair got indicted for fraud. Rumor is she's in Europe or dead. But her proxy is voting no on everything." "Find her," Phineas snapped. "Offer her a buyout. If she refuses, bury her in litigation. I want that company." "You seem distracted, Phineas," Arthur noted, narrowing his eyes. "You haven't been at the evening galas. You missed the charity auction for the Met." "I have a personal project," Phineas said dismissively. "Does this project wear an apron and serve hash browns?" Arthur asked. Phineas went still. "You had me followed. I protect this firm's assets," Arthur said calmly. "You're dating a waitress, Phineas, a nobody. If the press finds out you're running around playing hobo with a diner girl while trying to acquire a Fortune 500 company, The stock will tank. They'll say you're unstable. She's not a nobody. Phineas stood up. She's the only real thing in my life. Das too. She's a liability, Arthur countered, and I did a deeper dig. Her debt. It's significant. Her father died owing loan sharks in Jersey. If they find out she's dating a billionaire, you're not just a boyfriend, you're a bank. Phineas slammed his hand on the table. She doesn't know I'm a billionaire. That's the point. Then tell her, Arthur challenged. Bring her into the light. See if she loves Phineas Vane, or if she just loves the broken bird she thinks she can fix. Or better yet, see how fast her eyes widen when she sees the penthouse. Phineas tightened his jaw. He knew Arthur was right about one thing the lie had to end. He was in love with her. He wanted to give her the world. He wanted to pay off her debts, move her out of that roach-infested apartment she claimed to live in, and marry her. Tonight, Phineas said. I'm telling her tonight. That evening the dynamic shifted. Tessa was waiting for him outside the diner. She looked tired. She had applied dark makeup under her eyes to simulate exhaustion. Paul, she smiled weakly. I can't stay long. My landlord. He's threatening eviction. Get in the car, Phineas said. Tessa paused. What car? You don't have a car. Phineas signaled. The black Audi RS7 rolled up to the curb. Cole, the driver, stepped out and opened the door. Tessa feigned shock. She took a step back, her hand covering her mouth. Paul, what is this? Whose car is this? It's mine, Tessa, Phineas said, dropping the slur of his Paul voice. His posture straightened. He looked like the titan of industry he was. Please, get in, I can explain everything. You lied to me, she whispered, backing away. You're one of them, the rich guys who come here to laugh at us. No. Phineas stepped forward, grabbing her hands. I did it to find someone real, and I found you. Please, Tessa, let me show you who I really am. Let me help you. She looked at the car, then at him. A tear leaked out of her eye. It was a magnificent performance. I don't know you. Get in the car and you will, he pleaded. Slowly, hesitantly, she slid into the leather interior. As the car sped toward Manhattan, Phineas poured his heart out. He explained the gold diggers, the loneliness, the fear of being used. He told her he was Phineas Vane. He watched her face for the spark of greed. He waited for the calculation, but Tessa just stared out the window, silent. Say something, Phineas said, as they pulled up to his private elevator at 432 Park Avenue. You tested me, she said, softly. Like I was a lab rat. I had to, he said, but you passed. Tessa, I want to plateau your debts. I want to take care of you. They entered the penthouse. The view of the city was staggering.